Hello viewers and welcome to the lesson. We continue with Kenya Junior School Education Assessment Revision. This is Mathematics Grade 9. So let's go through all these questions. Remember to go to the description of the video. That is where you get the link to the paper. So let's go straight to section A, the paper, 20 marks. The first question, what is the value of the following? What is the value of the following? So I will work out this one in parts, and for you to work out this one, you need to understand where we have a mixture of operations. We need to use the law of BODMAS. So that is what you're going to use here. So like this one, also it is also important to understand integers, negative multiplied by positive, positive multiplied by negative, and so on. Now in this particular question, I will start by working out whatever we have on this side. So work out that. So 22 subtract negative 14. So negative multiplied by negative, when you open the bracket, this will give 22 plus 14. That is what you get. Then we have 6 times negative 2, a positive times negative. 6 is positive, negative 2 is see that is negative. So we have a product of a positive number and a negative number. So this will give negative 12. 6 times negative 2, that will give negative 12. Then we can complete this one. So this will give 22 plus 14. This will give 36. Then you divide by negative 12. And when you work out this one, this will give negative 3. So that is the solution for that part. Now we can go to this part. So let us work out this part. So you have 4 squared, and 4 squared is 4 times 4, which is 16. Then multiply by negative 6. And then you subtract 12, everything divided by 72 divided by. So you can see here we have a mixture of this is division and you have multiplication. So of course you're supposed to start with division according to the law of BODMAS. Division is supposed to come first. So for this one, we start with the 72 divided by, so 72 divided by negative 8, this will give negative 9. So that will give negative 9. Then times 3. And this one will simplify 2. So for this one, you have 16 times negative 6. That is multiplication. And then we end with the subtraction. So 16 multiplied by negative 6. 16 multiplied by negative 6. That will give 96. Of course, these are negative. So that will give negative 96. Subtract 12. Everything divided by negative 9 times 3, that will give negative 27. When you work out this, negative 96 subtract 12, that will give negative 108. I repeat, negative 96 subtract 12 is negative 108. Then divide by negative 27. So you can see for this one, you're dividing a negative by a negative, and so you are likely to get an answer that is positive. Negative divided by a negative, that will give positive. So 108 divided by 27, that will give positive 4. So now for the left hand side, we got how to get the solution. We got negative 3 for this one. We got negative 3, and then subtract for this one, we got 4. So it will be negative 3, that is the answer. Then subtract, for this part we got 4. So what is negative 3 subtract 4? That will give negative 7 as the solution. So the solution for that part is C. The tables of cubes. So the cube of 4.5. So what you're going to do, because you may not have, actually you don't have 0.45 from the table of cubes, you have to write this one in standard form. So 0.45, you can write it as a 4.5 times 10 raised to power negative 1. That is in standard form. 0.45 written in standard form is 4.5 times 10 raised to power negative 1. And then don't forget you are getting the cube of everything. So go to the table, get the cube of 4.5. So the cube of 4.5 from the table, 4.5 is here. So you can see where it is. So 4.5 is here. So 4.50 is here. The cube is 91.13. 91.13. So 91.13. So you have 91.13. And then the cube of 10 raised to power negative 1. Remember that 10 raised to power negative 1 is the same as 1 over 10. So when you're getting the cube of 10 raised to power negative 1, it is the same as 1 over 10 times 1 over 10 times 1 over 10, which is the same as 1 over 1,000, which you can still write it as 10 raised to power negative 3. So the cube of 10 raised to power negative 1 is 10 raised to power negative 3, of which that is the same as 91.13 times 10 raised to power negative 3 is 1 over 1,000, of which this one will be 91.13 divided by 1,000. And this one will give 0.09113. So that is for that particular part. Then we can go to now these other part. These are the cube root. The cube root of 43, 94. So write this number again in standard form. So you have 4.394 times this one will be 10 cubed. And don't forget, you are getting the cube root of everything. Don't forget that. So now to get the cube root of 4.394, you use the tables of cubes, but now you'll check inside this table where do we have 4.394 or a number, the number that is closest to that, 4.394. 4.394. So 4.394. So need to be very keen. This is a square root. So cubes 4 point, it is here 4 point. So we are looking for the number that is 4.394. 4.394. 4.394. Let me check the closest 4.394 inside here. 4.3. 4.3. I think this is the closest. 4.331, because the next one after that is 4.4. It exceeds 4.411. So the one that is closest to 4.394 is that. So and this one is at 1.6, 1.63, 1.63, 1 point. Let me write it here. So I can write it here 1.63. So that one gives 4.331. 4.331. That is the closest, because the next one will exceed. We go to 4.4. So after that, now we need to get the difference. What is the difference? The number that we wanted was 4.394. 4.394. So we get the difference. See what is remaining. So this is 3, and then this one is 6. So we have a difference of 63. So go straight again up to this column where we have add, and then look at the number that is you following this, you following that line, the number that is closest, the closest number to 63, the closest number to 63 or 63, which is and see the closest is again 57. That is the closest, 57, because the next one will be 65. So that one is at 7. So you'll come and add 7 here. That is what you're going to do. So you start by checking in the cube, the tables of cubes, the number, whether you can get this number 4.394 directly there. If it is there, you just pick it. If it is not there, you check the closest number to that. And the closest number to that I found was 4.331. That was the closest, and it was at 1.63. 1.63, I wrote it there. And I needed 4.394, so you get the difference to see what was remaining. So 63 is remaining. So go to the column where you have add, check where is 63. If 63 is not there, again you go to the closest to that. The closest is 57, because the next is 65. So that is at 7. So just add 7. So that one, the cube root is 1.6, 1.637, 1.637. So let me go back 1.6. Yeah, it is here 1.63, 1.637, 1.637. And then the cube root of 10 to the power 3. 10 to the power 3 is the same as 1,000. So what is the cube root of 1,000? It is 10. So now when you multiply these, you get 16.37. Now to get the solution, remember what you got from the other part. You got this one, then you add to this. So now to get the answer, you simply take 0.09113, and then you add 16.37. All the others you can put them as zeros. So this is how you add. So the solution you got for this part is here. Then the solution you got for this part is here. So when you add, you get 3, 1, 1, 16, 4. This is 6 and this is 1. So now we go to the next question. That is question 3. Question 3. The volume of a cubic gift box is 0.729 meter cubed. Calculate the length of one side of the cubic box. So given the volume of the cubic box, the first thing you need to understand, how do you get the volume of a cube? So volume of a cube is given by length multiplied by length by length. Why? Because a cube has all the sides equal. All the sides of a cube are equal. So it is length times length times length, which is equivalent to length cubed. Length times length times length is length cubed. So we can say, in order to get the length of one side, which is L, we say that when you get the volume of this cuboid, which is length cubed, that one should give you 0.729. So therefore, how do you get length? So for you to get length, you have length cubed is equals to 0.729. So length will be given by the cube root of 0.729. And how do you get the cube root of this number? Well, the easiest way is to first, you can express this one as a fraction. So 0.729 is the same as 729 divided by 1000. You'll see this one has 3 decimal places. So 0.729 is equivalent. If you write that decimal in form of a fraction, you get 729 divided by 1000. Then you get the cube root of everything. So when you're getting the cube root, here you can split it into 2. So you get the cube root of 729, and then you get the cube root of 1000. So what is the cube root of 729? You can get this one directly from the calculator. So you can get this one from the calculator. So the cube root of 729 is 9. The cube root of 729 is 9. Then the cube root of 1000 is 10. So therefore, the solution will be 9 divided by 10, which is 0.9. So 0.9 is the solution, and that is 0.9 meters. Now we go to question 4. A farmer harvested 144 bags of maize in one season. In the second season, the yield increased in the ratio 4:3. The farmer supplied all the bags of maize harvested in the second season equally to 3 millers. How many bags of maize did each miller get? So there are 144 bags, and in the second season, these bags increased in the ratio 4:3. So therefore, you need to get the new number of bags after the increase. So 144 bags, and they are increasing in the ratio 4:3. So how do we get the number of new bags after the increase? So in the second season, the new bags will be, when you're increasing 144 bags in the ratio 4:3, we give the ratio as 4/3. That is how we increase 4/3. Then multiply by 144 bags. So this will give us the new number of bags after the increase. So multiply these. So this is 144 multiplied by 4, and then you divide by 3. So this will give 192 bags. So that is how you increase 144 bags in the ratio 4:3. You simply take 4 divided by 3 times 144 to get the new number of bags after the increase. After that, now we have the new number of bags, which is 192. Now, these bags are all supplied equally to 3 millers. So 192 bags were supplied equally to 3 millers. So how many bags did each miller get? So you just take the number of bags, 192, and then you share to 3 millers. So you just divide by 3 because they got these bags equally. So 192 divided by 3, this will give 64. So each miller got 64 bags. So that is solution there is C. Go to question 5. James simplified an algebraic expression and got the answer as x to the power 4. Which of the following expressions did he likely simplify? So he simplified an algebraic expression and got the answer as x to the power 4. So which of these expressions did he likely simplify? So you just need to understand, for you to solve this one, the laws of indices. So like the first one, we just test the first one, x to the power 4 divided by x to the power 8. So the law of indices, when you are dividing, the bases are the same. You can see the base x is the same. So what do? We subtract the powers. So for part A, if I am to work out that, I will take x, then I subtract the power, that is a 4, subtract 8. And this will be x to the power -4. So that is not the one. Then for part B, you have x squared, and then you square that. So for this one, this is how you work it out. You take x, and then open this bracket, you take 2, multiply by 2. And this one will give you x to the power 4. So automatically, I don't need even to proceed to the other one, because this one is the one that gives us the solution. When you simplify this, you get x to the power 4. So that is exactly how you're supposed to solve that. We go to question 6. A tap can take 3 hours to fill a tank whose capacity is 6,000 liters. How long would it take the same tap to fill a tank whose capacity is 10,000 liters? So a tap can take 3 hours to fill a tank whose capacity is 6,000 liters. So the question we need to ask ourselves is, what about 1 hour? If in 3 hours, that time is enough to fill 6,000 liters, what about 1 hour? So 1 hour will be 6,000 divided by 3. And this will be equivalent to 2,000 liters. So for 1 hour, therefore, it can fill, using this time, it can fill 2,000 liters. It takes 1 hour to fill this tank, which is 2,000 liters. Then now, What about this 10,000 liters? How long will it take? So if in 1 hour you can fill a 2,000 liter water tank, what about 10,000 liters? How long will this one take? So you just need to cross multiply. So take 10,000 times 1, 10,000 times 1, then divided by 2,000, and this will give 10,000 divided by 2,000. This will give 5 hours. So that is the time required to fill this tank of capacity 10,000 liters. So the matrix is here, -1, 5, 2, 1, 4, 0. So the question is, what is the order of the matrix? So what is the order of the matrix, and how do we give the order of the matrix? We give the order of the matrix by taking the rows, number of rows, times the number of columns. That is how we give the order of the matrix. So in this case, we need to get the number of rows that are here. So this is the first row, this is the second row, this is the third row. So those are 3 rows times the number of columns. So this is the first column, this is the second column, the whole of these. So this is the column, this is the column. Then for the rows, this is the row, first row, the second, the third. So this one is a matrix of order 3 by 2, 3 rows and 2 columns. That is B. We go to question 8. Which of the following inequalities is represented by the shaded region? Which of the following inequalities is represented by the shaded region? So you can see the shaded region. It is the region above. So the line that we have here is Y. You can see the line is crossing Y. So from Y is equals to -1. From that point, we have shaded the upper side. So the upper side is the side that is greater than -1. The values that are on the upper side. So we have 0, we have 1, we have 2, we have 3. So the first thing you need to get is the equation of this line. The equation of this line that is here. The equation of that line is Y is equals to, so Y is equals to -1. So after getting the equation, we need to know which inequalities do we insert there. So the side that is shaded is the side that is above that line. And the values of Y above that line are greater than -1. The values that are below are less than. So therefore the equation should be Y is greater than or equal to -1. Why equal to? Because this line is continuous. That means all the points that are lying on top of that line are also included. So if we would have written Y is greater than, maybe that was the case when the line is broken and not continuous. But if the line is continuous, that one should be Y is greater than or equal to. So that is the inequality for that part. So Y is greater than -1. The values that we need, the shaded part, all those values are greater than -1. So that one said and done, we go to question 9. A line which joins the points A, 3K, and B, -2, 5, has a gradient of -2/5. Find the value of K. So you have 2 points here. So you have 3 and K. And you have B, that is A, and you have B, which is -2, 5. We have the gradient as -2/5. So how do we get the gradient? Gradient is given by the change in Y coordinate divided by the change in X coordinate. So how do we get the change in Y? The change in Y, we get 5, subtract K, the corresponding Y, then divided by change in X, which is -2, subtract 3. That is how we get the gradient. And that gradient is equivalent to -2/5. So we simplify this. So this will be 5 subtract K is equals to -2 minus 3. That will give -5 is equals to -2/5. So from here you can cross multiply. So 5 multiplied by 5 minus k is equals to -2 times -5. So this will give 5 times 5, this will give 25, minus 5 times k, that will give minus 5k, is equals to -2 times -5, that will give +10. So now you make k the subject. So I can decide to take k to this side, and decide to take k to that side. Me draw a line here. So I can decide to take k, 5k to the right hand side, and then I take 10 to the left hand side. So on the left hand side I have 25. After bringing 10 to the left hand side I have -10 is equals to, then when you take -5k to the right hand side, you'll get 5k. So that is what you do. So this will be 25 subtract 10, that will give 15, is equals to 5k. So k is obtained by dividing both sides by 5. You get k to be 3. So k is 3. So for the other question, that was the solution. You can go to the next. The next one is question 10. Now for question 10, an artist is making cone-shaped paper hearts for a school play. Each heart has a diameter of 14 centimeters and a slant height of 15 centimeters. As you can see there, how much paper is needed to make one heart? So how much paper? So you got to get the surface area. And since you need to be very keen, since this cone paper is open, this one is a school heart, and that means that this part, we only need the curved part. So this circular part is open, it is a heart, and that is how a heart looks like. So need to be very careful about that. So this circular part is open, so you need to get the area of the curved part. So this one is a cone. How do you get the area of the curved part? So the curved part of the cone is obtained by this formula, pi r l, where r is the radius and then l is the slant height. So because you only need the curved part, the circular part will not be included, it is open. So pi, which is 22/7, times the radius. The radius is a diameter is 14, so the radius is 7, times l. L is the slant height, which is 15. So that is how you're supposed to work it out, by 7/1 by 7/1. So you have 22 times 15. 2 times 15, this will give 330 centimeters squared. That is the amount of the paper needed, the surface area. Question 11. A metal block has a mass of 12,000 kg and a volume of 15 meter cubed. What is the density? What is its density? So how do you get density? Density is obtained by getting mass divided by the volume. So here we have mass as 12,000 kilograms, and then we have the density as 15 meter cubed. So you just need to divide. This is so direct, so just use a calculator to work out these. So you divide these. Very easy. It's very easy. So you simply get 12,000 divided by 15, and this one will give 800. This will give 800 kilograms per meter cubed. Kilogram per meter cubed, part B. Question 12. The figure below represents an open rectangular container. As you can see there, what is the total surface area? What is the total surface area? Now this one is an open rectangular container. That means that the top part, this part is open, so we will not need to get the area of that part. So therefore, when you're getting the area, you need to remember very well that we will not include all the faces. So the faces that we need will be Total faces here are 6, so we only need 5 faces. We're not going to include the top part. So we start with the bottom. The area of the bottom surface is rectangular. So the bottom will give 12 centimeters times 6 centimeters. That will give 72 centimeters squared. Then the side measures 6 by 8. So 6 centimeters by 8 centimeters. So that will give 48 centimeters squared. And then you need to multiply this one by 2. Reason for the side we have this side, and also we have the other side, so we have to multiply that one by 2. So this will be 48 times 2 will be 96 centimeters squared. Then we have the front part, which is facing us, that is 12 by 8. That rectangle that is facing us, 12 centimeters by 8 centimeters, and the other one that is on the other side, so that will be times 2, and this will give 12 times 8 times 2, that will give 192 centimeters squared. So now to get the total surface area, we simply need to add. You can see these are 5 faces. We've not included the top part because it is open. So we add, so we have 72 plus 96 plus 192. 72 plus 96 plus 192, and that one gives 360 centimeters squared. So that is how you're supposed to solve that part. We can go to the next one. The next part is question 13. Jacob drives 80 kilometers in 2 hours, then drives further 60 kilometers in 1.5 hours. What is his average speed for the whole journey? The average speed for the whole journey. So how do you get the average speed? Average speed is obtained by getting the total distance divided by the total time taken. So the total distance will be 80 kilometers plus 60 kilometers. 80 kilometers plus 60 kilometers. And then total time taken, we have 2 hours and 1.5 hours. So 2 plus 1.5 hours. So this will give 80 plus 60, that will give 140 kilometers. And then this one will give 3.5 hours. So you just need to divide these. And when you divide this one using a calculator, so 140 divided by 3.5, that gives 40. So you get the speed as 40 kilometers per hour. We go to the next question, question 14. A car's velocity changes from 20 meters per second to 50 meters per second in 5 seconds. What is its acceleration? What is its acceleration? So how do we get acceleration? So acceleration is given by, we take the final velocity, subtract the initial velocity divided by the time taken. So in this case, the final velocity, because it started at 20 meters per second, then went to 50 meters per second. So 50 meters per second is the last velocity, the last speed. So 50 meters per second is the final velocity. Initial velocity, it started with 20 meters per second, then divided by the time taken is 5 seconds. So this will give 50 times, this will give 30. This one will give 30 divided by 5, and this will give 6 meters per second squared. Why second squared? Because we have meters per second, and then we are dividing by second. Remember, this one will not divide, the second and the second will not divide. So when you take acceleration is given in meters per second squared. So that is how you're supposed to do that. We go to question 15. The cash price of a radio is 8,000 shillings. The hire purchase price is 50% more than the cash price. Jamila bought the radio on hire purchase by paying a deposit of 2,400 and equal monthly installments of 800. In how many months did she pay the installments? So the cash price is 8,000. So the hire purchase is 50% more. So first thing, get the hire purchase. Because it is 50% more, it will be 150%. 150% off 8,000. Why did I get 150%? Because initially, before the increase, 8,000 is equivalent to 100. So if it is hire purchase is 50% more, you have to take 100 plus 50. That is when you get 150%. So it will be 150% of the cash price. And when you work out these, it will give you the amount bought in hire purchase. So 150 divided by 100, and then you multiply by 8,000. So that gives 12,000. So the hire purchase amount is therefore 12,000. Jamila bought the radio after paying a deposit. So after paying the deposit, how much remained? The remaining, remember, hire purchase is 12,000. After making the deposit of 2,400, the balance, that is how you get the balance. So you take 12,000 and then, so 12,000 subtract 2,400. So the balance that is to be paid will be 9,600. So the hire purchase amount is 12,000. She made a deposit of 2,400. So you have to subtract from 12,000. So now she remains to pay 9,600. And this is what she is supposed to pay in monthly installment. So the total amount to be paid is 9,600. So one installment is 800. So to get the number of installments, you simply take the amount to be paid and then you divide by one installment. So when you divide these, this is what you're going to get. So this is 96 divided by 800, you'll get 12. So she has to make 12 installments of 800 each. Question 16. A school globe is spherical in shape with the radius of 14 centimeters. 14 centimeters. So what is its surface area? So how do you get the surface area of a sphere? This is a school globe. School globe is spherical in shape. So the surface area of a sphere is given by 4 pi r squared. That is how you get the surface area of a sphere. So you get 4 multiplied by pi times the radius squared. So this one should give, so you have 4 multiplied by 22 multiplied by 14 multiplied by 14 and then divide by 7. So this will be 24, 64. So this one should give 24, 64 centimeters squared. So the most important thing there was just to know how do you get the surface area of a sphere, 4 pi r squared. Question 17. Which quadrilateral has all the following properties? All the opposite sides are equal. The interior angles add up to 360. Some angles are acute angle while others are obtuse. Diagonals bisect at right angles. So the only, maybe the most important point that is going to assist you here is this one. Diagonals bisect at right angles. And then opposite sides are equal. All the opposite sides are equal. So we talk of, look at a parallelogram. For a parallelogram, we're going to consider each one at a time. Opposite sides are equal. Then interior angles add up to that. Then for a parallelogram, the diagonals don't bisect at right angles. They don't bisect at 90 degrees. Then also for the rectangle, the same. Then for the square is extremely out, because for a square, all the sides are equal, not just the opposite sides. Although the opposite sides are equal, but all the sides are equal. Then for that again, diagonals don't bisect at right angles. So the only one that is left here with satisfying all these properties here is a rhombus. And specifically the one that has assisted us there is the diagonals meet or intersect at 90 degrees. For all the others, we have none of them that meet that condition. We go to question 18. Question 18. The figure below represents a rectangular plot of land drawn to scale 1:1000. What is the actual area of the plot in hectares? So the first thing you need to understand about this scale, this scale means 1 centimeter on the map represents 1000 centimeters on the ground. And you need to get the actual area of land in hectares. So you need to get this measurement. You need to get that measurement. I may not get the right measurement with you simply because I'm using a page that is zoomed. You can see I've zoomed. So I'll work with whatever I have. It might not be the exact one you get when you get this paper, because I've zoomed my page and therefore the diagram is distorted, is not the actual one. So according to the measurement here, I can see this is 8.4. This is 8.4 centimeters. I'll go by this one for just demonstration. This is 8.4 centimeters. And then for the other side, so for the other side, so this one is 5.6. Just for demonstration, this is 5.6 centimeters. Now, because you want the area in hectares, first of all, you will need to convert these measurements to maybe meters. For meters, that one will work very well, so that you can have this formula. 1 hectare, remember 1 hectare is 10,000 meters squared. So when you work with the meters, it will be very easy for you to convert. And also this scale, you have to convert it to meters. So 1 centimeter represents, remember that 100 centimeters is equals to 1 meter. So if 1 centimeter represents 1,000 centimeters, then 1 centimeter should represent, just divide this one by 100. So this one will be 10 meters, like that. Using this, 1 meter is equals to 100 centimeters. Then, because you are getting the area, 1 centimeter squared, 1 centimeter squared will represent what? This will be 10 meters times 10 meters, because we have to square this. So when you square this centimeter squared, you have to square this. So this will give 1 centimeter squared represents, this will be 100 meters squared. So what about the area of this rectangle, which is 8.4 times 5.6? So 8.4 times 5.6. This will give 47.04. 47.04. Again, these are not the answers that you are likely to get because you may have different measurements from what I have. So this is a centimeter squared. So that is the area. So what about if 1 centimeter squared represents 100 meters squared? What about 47.04 centimeters squared? That one will represent what? So you simply need to cross multiply. So 47.04 times 100, and this one will give 47.04 meters. Remember, these are meters squared. Then now from there, to give the answer in hectares, you simply convert this one to hectares. So 1 hectare is equals to 10,000 meters squared. So what about 4704 meters squared? How many hectares are these? So cross multiply. So this will be 4704 divided by 10,000, and this will give 0.4704 hectares. Again, that is why you can see you will not find any answer here close to what I have, because of the zooming of the page. I've scanned the paper, and that is why you can see there are disparities. But that is what you are supposed to get when you use the hard copy the way it is. Question 19. Calculate the number of sides of a regular polygon whose exterior angle is 120. Very simple question. Calculate the number of sides of a regular polygon. These are polygon whose exterior angle is 120 degrees. So how do you get the exterior angle? The exterior angle of a polygon is obtained by getting 360 divided by the number of sides. The number of sides, which we denote as n. So that is how we get the exterior angle. So the exterior angle, which is 12, is equivalent to 360 divided by the number of sides. So you are supposed to get n. So to get n, just put that over 1 and then you cross multiply. 12 times n, you get 12n is equals to 360 times 1, that will be 360. So n is equals to 360 divided by 12. And this one will give, I think there's something I wrote, or the exterior angle, there's something that I missed here, I'm sorry. There's something, I've seen so many sides. I wrote 12 instead of 120. So the exterior angle, sorry for that, exterior angle is 120 is equals to 360 divided by n. So just put that on over 1 and then cross multiply, you get 120 multiplied by n, that is 120n is equals to 360 multiplied by 1. So n will be given by 360 divided by 120, and n will be 3. So that is 3 sides. We go to the last question for that section. The graph below shows the motorist journey from town L to K and back. L to K and back. So you can see the figure there. What was the motorist average speed in kilometers for the whole journey? So for us to get the average speed, we need to get the total distance. Then we divide by the total time taken. Now, because this distance, we thought that he drove from L here to K and then back. So total distance will be, you can see where the distance is. Need to read this scale very well. So here it is. So the distance up to that point, that is why I have the distance. So I have to read that. So that is the distance in kilometers. So the scale is 1 centimeter represents 20. So 1 small square will be 20. We take 20 divided by 10. So 1 small square represents 2. 1 small square, 2, 4, 6, 10, like that. So this one is at 60, 62, 64, 66, 68, 70, 72. That one should be 72 kilometer using the scale. So you must be able to understand the scale. 1 centimeter represents 20. So from this point to this point, 20. Then between that 20, there are 10 small squares. So that is what you take to get the size of 1 small square. You take 20 divided by the 10 small squares that are inside here. So 1 small square will be 2. So from 60, I can see there how many squares are here. So you can see 62, 64, 66, 68, 70, 72. So that is a distance one way. Because he went and came back, you have to multiply this one by 2. So this will give 144 kilometers. That is the total distance. Then the total time total time taken, we need to get the total time from 7:30 to 11:30. That is the total time, because when you look at the graph, you can see this person went direct and then to K and then back. You can see, so the total time went and then up to K and then back to the starting point. So the total distance will be from 7:30 to 11:30, from 7:30 to 11:30. So from 7:30 to 11:30, and this one will be, how many hours are these? 11:30 to 7:30. When you subtract these, you get 4 hours. So therefore, the average speed for the whole journey will be the total distance, which is 144 kilometers, divided by the total time taken, which is 4 hours. So 144 divided by 4 hours. So that gives 36. Get 36 kilometers per hour. So that is all about section A.